Predicting NFL honors is like playing horseshoes. Even with a little luck, you're usually just close instead of nailing the stake. Injuries, weird coaching decisions, and players not playing well due to aging tend to disrupt those predictions. Yet lots of us still put ourselves through the same song and dance every year. Hopefully my predictions don't end up like this by season's end. These predictions are not based on odds, even though odds can be a helpful guide. They're based on gut instinct, research, and the hope that every player stays 100% healthy. A person can dream, can he? Coach Pete Carroll has one of the best energies of any coach in the NFL. His teams emulate that energy every season, whether they are good or bad. The Seahawks exceeded expectations last year, and they are going to do so again in 2023. Coach Carroll will lead the Seahawks to the NFC West division title in a surprise over the San Francisco 49ers. The Seahawks are perceived as a bad team because Geno is their quarterback, despite him playing well last season. He did have a less than stellar end to the 2022 season, but the Seahawks retooled their roster and are primed to be much better than what media pundits are projecting. Many media pundits don't believe Geno can repeat his success from last season. I believe he can. The Seahawks will have the second best record in the NFC behind the Philadelphia Eagles, and Pete Carroll will win Coach of the Year. The Falcons in 2022 were 3rd in rushing yards, 4th in yards per carry, top 10 in rushing touchdowns, 7th in runs of 20 plus yards, and 4th in runs of 40 plus yards, meaning Bijan will have lots of opportunity to make splash plays for a team that loves to run the football, and they do it as well as anybody in the league. People will point out that he will have to split time with Tyler Algier. This will only help Bijan stay healthy and limit the toll his body takes over the course of a regular season that is 4 games longer than what Bijan was used to in college. Quarterbacks often take some time to get used to the speed of the NFL game, which is partly why I did not pick either Bryce or CJ. I know this is not taking a huge risk taking the elite college running back, but sometimes the favorite is the best bet. The Steelers seem to always nail their wide receiver picks. So, I suppose, on the flip side, it stands to reason that they always seem to miss on the opposite side of the ball at cornerback. Joey Porter Jr. is going to be the exception. The Steelers, aside from Minkah Fitzpatrick, are considered a bit weak in the secondary, a problem area for the Steelers the last couple of years. That's going to change. Mentorship from Patrick Peterson, pass rush pressure from Alex Highsmith and TJ Watt will provide Joey Porter Jr. plenty of opportunity to generate the play and numbers to make his case for Defensive Rookie of the Year. When I look around the NFL at the other players that have the potential to win Defensive Rookie of the Year, I see some issues. Jalen Carter has split time as well as glory with all of the guys on the Eagles front. Devin Witherspoon will have some of his shine stolen because he plays opposite of Tariq Woolen and has Quandre Diggs playing behind him. Will Anderson will pose a challenge, but it's hard to know if he'll be the high sack guy he was at Alabama in 2021 or the more modest guy he was at Alabama in 2022. It might turn out to be a bad choice to pick against a pass rusher since they tend to dominate these awards. 11 of the last 20 winners have been a pass rush type player, but Joey Porter Jr. has something none of the other defensive rookies have. Name recognition. Having had a father play in the NFL, that name prestige will help with voters. Joey Porter Jr. will be just the second player since 2006 to be drafted outside the first round and win Defensive Rookie of the Year. The other, Shaq Leonard in 2018. I debated picking Amon-Ra St. Brown here. This year he'll finally get the due recognition he deserves after 2 great seasons, the first of which he didn't get any actual playing time until the last 6 games of the season, the second in which he was limited in a game due to an ankle sprain, missed a game week 4, and essentially missed a 3rd game in week 7 after he got a concussion and had to leave early. But in 2022, Garrett Wilson had a platoon of quarterbacks: Mike White, Zach Wilson, Joe Flacco. In 2022, Garrett Wilson had 83 receptions for 1,100 yards and 4 touchdowns. In 2022, Garrett Wilson won Offensive Rookie of the Year. In 2023, Garrett Wilson will have Hall of Fame quarterback Aaron Rodgers throwing him the football. Look at what Christian Watson did with Aaron Rodgers in a down year with a thumb injury. Garrett Wilson is in for a big year, and it will end with him winning not only Fantasy Player of the Year, but also Offensive Player of the Year. Everyone likes to clown on the Dallas Cowboys because, well, it's fun. But the Cowboys have a damn good football team, and the main reason for that is Micah Parsons. He's one of the most versatile players in the NFL, not just one of the most versatile defensive players. Micah also stays on the field even when he's injured, playing 16 and 17 games in his first 2 seasons. He's been consistent with the number of sacks he's had in 2 seasons at 13 and 13.5 respectively. He'll need to improve those numbers ever so slightly. I believe he will. I don't know if this will finally be the Cowboys' year, but it for damn sure is going to be Micah Parsons. A year after finishing as a runner-up, Micah Parsons wins Defensive Player of the Year. If you calculate Cooper Kupp's full season numbers based on his pace in 2022, he would have finished with 11 touchdowns, over 1,500 yards, and 141 catches. Those numbers are not quite the production he had in 2021 as a Triple Crown winner, but those numbers are still insanely impressive. He would have finished 1st in receptions, tied for 3rd in touchdowns, and finished 3rd in receiving yards. He played in just 9 games last season. One of those 9 games he played without his quarterback quarterback Matthew Stafford the Week 10 game he got injured in. He has a unique connection with Matthew Stafford. If Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce didn't exist, Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp would be the best quarterback receiver duo in the league. They have had amazing chemistry. In 2023, that shouldn't change, especially with Stafford set to be healthier after this past offseason. Look for Cooper Kupp to have another great season, ending with the Comeback Player of the Year award, is what I would say for any other season other than the 2023-2024 season, because Damar Hamlin is likely going to be the Comeback Player of the Year. It is interesting because at some point during the season, the media is going to ask Damar if he thinks he will be a shoo-in for the Comeback Player of the Year award. I expect he'll answer that he hopes people vote for the person that best deserves the award. Damar is a high character person. After his medical challenges, we've seen that with our own eyes. Perhaps we'll have our first co-comeback players of the year. It seems unlikely. If Damar happens to have a less than stellar season, I don't believe that's going to matter to voters. What he has gone through over the last year is traumatic, yet remarkable. Should he play just one snap, the media will vote for Damar Hamlin for Comeback Player of the Year. Trevor Lawrence's rookie season in the NFL was chaotic because of coaching and his play suffered. After getting some experience in a Doug Peterson offense and improving his play dramatically in just his second year, a nearly 7% jump in completion percentage, 2 times jump in touchdowns going from 12 to 25, his number of interceptions cut in half from 17 to 8, Trevor Lawrence is ready to make another leap, this time playing at the level of an MVP. Already surrounded by tons of offensive talent in Christian Kirk, Travis Etienne, Zay Jones, and Evan Ingram, the rich get richer by adding another elite receiver in Calvin Ridley, a guy who is looking to make an immediate impact to remind people of his ability. The loss of Cam Robinson to suspension should create some difficulties, but MVPs are able to overcome those challenges. That's why they are MVPs. The Jags will finish as the number 2 seed in the AFC, and Trevor Lawrence will be heavily responsible. The voters will see his impact and vote Trevor Lawrence the 2023-2024 AP NFL MVP. Thank you for your time.